working? Can you hear me? Good morning. I am Laura Dolan. I am your 2022-2023 ABA president. So welcome to our breakfast. This is the 11th annual State of the City Mayor's Address, so we're really happy to be here and be together. And if we could please pause for a moment, we're going to have Rabbi Bernstein provide the invocation.
Thank you. First of all, it's really an honor to be able to offer the invocation here. If we put those clocks in my synagogue, I feel like the shot clock is about to go off. But I just want to take a moment, though, to say that one of the great pleasures of being a rabbi in Alpharetta, and I was just talking to the councilman about, faith being a strength of our community. As a faith leader, I feel that doubly, right? I feel that it gives me the opportunity to truly experience what I do in terms of recognizing people's need for connection to each other, connection through each other, connection to God and through God, to themselves and to others, but also to feel the support of a community that recognizes the work that we do. So in this invocation, which I take literally as a calling to each other, what draws me in is how do we support each other? And the prayer and the reflection and the hope that brings us together, I think, should always be rooted in that. How do we lift each other up? Yesterday is a day that, for many, is a day that people think about love in its very different forms. But we know that love is also at the center of each of our faiths, whether in the Torah, whether in the Gospels, in the Quran, whether with or without a name for God. And my prayer is that as we gather together today, and we pray for those who are in positions of leadership, in positions of inspiration, in positions of service in our city, Mayor Gilvin, and all of those who are here and do the business of the city, that we remember that it's not just business, but business rooted in love, that the world is built on love, kindness, compassion, patience, respect for each other, that we are all drawn together not by our own interests only, but by the needs and the responsibilities to each other, that we see every other person as acting as if they have our own interest in mind first and foremost, that we not look at the surface or the actions or the assumptions of another and think about who they are and how they fit into our world, but that we look at others and think about how we can fit into their world, how we can lift each other up, how love can be part not only of our own private lives, even our own faith lives, but our public lives. May we be drawn together by God, who we call upon by many names. May we be drawn together and called together in this purpose, lifted up so that we can lift each other up. And if you'll say it with me, Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. I have this script, and those of you who know me know how much I hate that, but I'm going to do my best to stay on it. We're very pleased to be back again. More people attending than last year, but not as many as prior years. We'll get there. No matter how we gather, the Alpharetta Business Association is always proud to present the state of the city and our Alpharetta Mayor, Jim Gilvin. The Alpharetta Business Association started in 1994 when a group of downtown Alpharetta merchants banded together to promote their shops and restaurants in an effort to draw customers to the area. Since then, the ABA has grown into a thriving business organization and is truly plugged into local community. Today, the ABA's reach extends beyond downtown to every corner of Alpharetta, supporting hundreds of small business owners. Many people don't realize truly what the ABA does. We are the presenting organization of many popular local events and activities, including everybody's favorite, the Alpharetta Farmers Market, which will be kicking off in April, the Alpharetta Holiday Market, the Spring and Fall Brew Moon Festivals. Mark your calendars for June 4th and September 24th. The Alpharetta Guidebook, copies are out front. And then for our members and guests, should you choose to join us, we have the monthly Power Breakfast Network meetings right here in the Phase Learning Center, and the monthly after-hour social networking, which meets in various locations that our members will host. And then, of course, the State of the City address where we are today. The ABA provides an outstanding way to become involved and stay connected with the Alpharetta business community. If you're not a member, you're missing out. As Jeff just said to me this morning, it's really the best deal going. You can't believe how cheap it is. So we might raise our rates. I don't know. You were paid for the year, though, right? So you're good. If you're not a member, you're missing out. We're focused on driving business relationships to the people who are the small business owners in your community. Darren Carter, our past president, coined the term, don't call the 800 number. What you need is in the room. Call your local business leader. So look at the ABA directory or your networking directory. From hypnosis to HVAC repair, clean water to clean carpets, an ABA member, a local business owner, has got your back. Before we get to our featured speaker, I have some special guests to acknowledge. First, I want to introduce the ABA board. My sidekick, Tracy Morton. It's a realtor-centric board this year. Tracy, stand up. She's our vice president. Treasurer Dean Robertson, who's not here. We'll dock his pay. Past president Darren Carter. Stand up. The rest of the board members, Paula Fine, Beth Johnson. Beth is our liaison to the farmers market. Steve Kaler, Chris Miller, Janet Rogers, and Jim Tardif. Jim Tardif is the membership committee liaison, so when you're ready to join, write him the check. From the Alpharetta City Council, we have Mayor Pro Tem Dan Merkel. Where are you, Dan? Council Member Jason Binder, Council Member Doug Dorito, Council Member John Hypes, Council Member Donald Mitchell, Council Member Brian Will. We also have Liz Hausman, Vice Chair of Fulton County Commission, representing District 1 in Northeast Fulton. I haven't seen Liz yet today. She'll be here soon. Other distinguished guests include John Bradbury, Mayor of Johns Creek, and my good friend Peyton Jameson, our new Milton Mayor. Thank you all for being here this morning. We really appreciate you joining us. I also need to recognize the presenting sponsors of the Alpharetta Business Association, the Alpharetta Convention Visitors Bureau, and Appen Media Group. We have a long list, thank you, of corporate sponsors. Corporate sponsors support the Alpharetta Business Association at a deeper level financially, and they make sure they participate in all of the events. We have the Ansley Atlanta Real Estate Group, the Kraft Dolan team, Atlanta Divorce Group, Bay Equity Home Loans, Canacultured, Cinch IT, Comcast Business, Dramatic Water Solutions, Eco Shredding, Harry Norman Realtors, HBNS, Integrated Insurance Solutions, IP Phone, Johns Creek Advisors, Milton Mechanical, Phase Events, Savory Gourmet, Signs of Significance, Swilling Family Law, and Thrivent. So obviously being a corporate sponsor is very popular. It's my great honor to introduce the Mayor of Alpharetta, who will share his thoughts about 2022 and the city's future. Jim Gilvin and his family have been residents of Alpharetta since 1998. He's a small business owner just like a lot of us here today. Jim has served on the Alpharetta City Council since 2012 and was elected to serve as mayor of Alpharetta in 2018. He's been instrumental guiding the city throughout the pandemic and as we enter into this new and exciting phase where we're not in a pandemic. Please help me welcome Alpharetta Mayor Jim Gilvin.
Wow, this thing echoes a lot. Morning, everybody. Morning. It's a pleasure to be here. It is so great to see all these smiling faces of our friends and neighbors, and it's wonderful to be here representing the city of Alpharetta. I am the most fortunate man on the face of the earth, and I want to be sure to give thanks to Laura specifically, but ABA, for this opportunity. As she mentioned, I was first elected in 2012, and I can't sit up here or stand up here and not think about that first State of the City address in 2012, where a whole new crew, a whole new mayor, and four new council members were elected, and were handed the task of creating a vibrant downtown and reviving our economy, where Avalon was 87 acres of mud, and downtown had one restaurant, Smoke Jack. And I want to thank the Alpharetta Business Association, because they were there in those days, and they were instrumental in helping us become the city we are today. We're eternally grateful for that. I know I am personally, and the city owes ABA a debt of gratitude, because they changed the future of this city in a very special way. And that allows me to sit up here, stand up here, and talk about the community that we enjoy. And this really is a special place. I want to tell you, it's sunshine and rainbows in this community. And we don't take that for granted. We know it hasn't always been this way. But I want to take the time that I have this morning and share, because one of the biggest challenges I have as mayor, I was active in the community for a decade. I served on council for a little over 6 years. But what I've come to learn in the role of mayor, as the figurative leader of this community, is I spend so much time talking to people, talking to investors, talking to business leaders, talking to residents about what's going on in this community, what we're doing right, what we're not getting right yet, what they want to see, what they need to see to thrive. And the challenge in this role isn't just listening and absorbing all of that information, but it's trying to relay that back to the people in this audience, back to my council members who have to lead this community at my side and create the vision that's given to us by our bosses, the 65,000 people who elected us to serve you. Trying to convey all of that amass of information that I get on a daily basis is almost impossible. And the reason this is such a special occasion for me is that when I look at the opportunity to give a State of the City now, I realize this is the one time a year that I can really focus, I'm forced to focus, on everything I know, everything I've heard, and everything I see going on in our community for the future. And it forces me to condense billions of gigabytes of information into a discussion I can share with you this morning, and hopefully I won't bore you to tears. Because I do notice that on the agenda today, they allotted me 45 minutes, so I must have gone way too long last year, and I'm going to really try to get y'all out of here on time today, ahead of time. But I'll start off by just talking a little bit about where we are, okay? Alpharetta has become an incredible city. We've always been a great community. We're blessed to live in North Fulton County. because this region is unique in many ways. We've created an environment that has fantastic schools. We have a tremendous business climate. We attract people from all over the world because of the quality of life, because of the safety that people sense in this community and the opportunities that we provide. And it's not by luck that the city of Alpharetta has become the city we are today. It's by a lot of hard work. It's by vision, the vision of our residents, the vision of our leaders, current and past. And it's by investments. And so when I look around at the world today, I want you to understand, because I have, I think, a deeper appreciation. Most of the people I speak to in this community understand that we are fortunate, that we are blessed. We have opportunities and capabilities and resources that most of the world don't have. And because of that, we enjoy a quality of life and an environment that thrives, even in difficult times. But what I've been able to see is the conversations with people who have come from all over the world. Many of you may know, Alpharetta is composed of a very diverse community, very different than the one that existed here 40 years ago. We have 24% of our population are foreign born. Not just foreign to Alpharetta, but I'm talking about people who have come from all over the world, who've put down roots here, who've invested and built their businesses here. And they've done that not because they had to, because they could have gone anywhere else in the world, and they chose this location. This is where they want to be, not where they needed to be or had to be. And that makes us very unique in a lot of ways. We didn't have a legacy culture because only 3,000 people lived in this community in 1980. What we have done is evolve as the world has changed, and it's given us a flexibility and a creativity that some of the other cities around the country and around the world don't have, because they've established a culture and a way to operate. We're in a great place. I can't tell you the number of conversations I've had over the last year with innovators, with people who have lived in other places and could live anywhere else in the world, but have chosen to move to this area and this community because of the opportunities, because it's a safe place to raise their family, it's a great place to build a business, and in a post-COVID environment, the things that have made us strong and attractive and great over the last decade are the things that are even more desirable now because they're harder to find. And we're very fortunate. We're blessed because those things didn't happen without a lot of thought and a lot of effort. It took great leadership, but it also took a community that was supportive, and it also took an amazing team of employees, a dedicated staff that not only understand the vision that our residents possess, but are dedicating their time and efforts to making it real. So I'd like to take a moment just to thank all of our staff here that are in attendance. I don't want to start naming them because, if you will, just kind of raise your hand because they deserve a round of applause. And the evolution of this city over the last 10 years has been nothing less than phenomenal. As I mentioned, downtown Alpharetta, if any of you have had the chance to come up to the third floor at City Hall, one of the things I like to do is first I ask if they've ever been to Alpharetta before. If they haven't, or if they haven't been there in a while, I take them out on the balcony that looks out over the town green and city center. And I point to everything you can see from that balcony. And I explain to them that there are only two things you can see from the third floor balcony in City Hall that existed 10 years ago: the Baptist Church and Smoke Jack. Everything else has happened in the last 10 years. And that has been a tremendous story. And it's been an opportunity for me to have a front row seat to watch how that has occurred. And it has made Alpharetta kind of an aspirational city. And I don't take that lightly. It's not bragging if you've done it. Tom Brady doesn't brag. But we've been blessed. We were at the right place at the right time, coming out of the recession with the right resources and the right community support, with leadership that understood for us to become a better city, not just a bigger city, but a better city, we had to partner with the private sector, with groups like ABA and the North Fulton Chamber, and investors who would help us build the city our residents wanted. And that's what's gotten us to this point. And we're in a great place. And I'm flattered all the time by conversations I have with other municipal leaders around the state and people who appreciate what we've been able to do. But don't kid yourselves. I've got a couple of new mayors of our communities next door. Peyton, Mr. Bradbury, mayors. They are doing what we have already done, and they will continue to evolve much like we have. And so it's important that we realize we are part of the North Fulton region. And hopefully, as we begin to work together better as neighboring communities, we're going to start creating that whole persona, and hopefully maybe even evolve into a branding campaign to identify North Fulton as something like the Research Triangle, because it's not just Alpharetta. The 60,000 people who come into our city every day aren't just Alpharetta residents. It's people from all around North Fulton, from South Forsyth. And we need to make sure people understand that this is a region, this is a community that works together for the benefit of all. So I talked about the vision and the leadership and how that helped us get to where we are. So I want to share with you just a little bit, because I don't want to go 45 minutes, of how that was applied in 2021 and set the stage for where we are today. So in 2021, a lot of communities were just trying to stay afloat. And as I mentioned, I've been in Alpharetta since 1998. We've had a recession, I'll call it, after 9/11. Several years Atlanta was struggling, especially in real estate, for those of you that are also in real estate. And then we had a tremendous recession in 2008. It's been cyclical. But both of those downturns were times when Alpharetta was somewhat insulated from the financial turmoil and the unrest that occurred in other parts of the country, because we have focused on what makes us a great city. The very basics of what make us a great city are our public safety, our quality of life, and our schools. So when things are down, when things are hard, when times are difficult, our city always focuses on the blocking and tackling, to paraphrase Bob Regas, our city administrator, of what's our priorities, and those are always our priorities. And so in 2021, while much of the world was struggling and trying to find their way out of COVID, Alpharetta kept working. Our staff never stopped. They might not have been in the office quite as often, but our police and firefighters were not at home with their feet kicked up watching Gilligan's Island. They were out there serving and protecting this community. Our employees in community development were not taking time off to spend at the beach. They were working. We had more building permits issued in 2021 than I believe in the history of our city. I mean, things kept going, and we kept working together. Those in the private sector trying to keep your businesses afloat, and us in the public sector trying to help you keep your businesses afloat and grow and seize the opportunities that were available to you. We focused on things like infrastructure, continuing to help relieve some of the congestion that will return. It's just a matter of time. So we started investing in roads. In 2021, we were wrapping up the Kimball Bridge Road project. For those of you that don't go that corridor all the time, that was one of the biggest bottlenecks we've had in this city for more than 2 decades. And finally, we were able to address that by adding an additional lane from Milton Parkway to Waters Road, putting a roundabout in there at New Prospect School and Kimball Farms. We were making a difference in the future of this community. We started the first phase of the Webbridge Road project, which is a transformational corridor project, much like what we've achieved on Rucker Road. Not the same size and scale, but similar in the way it's going to be a catalyst for a change of that neighborhood corridor from Webbridge Road at North Point all the way up to Webbridge Park. Not only did we continue working on road projects, but we also were able, with the help of the voters of Fulton County, to renew Tsplost, transportation sales tax. It passed back in November, and that will provide projected about $60 million worth of revenue over the next 5 years. It's going to allow us to continue the plans that we've had in place for several years. We needed to make sure we had the funds available, and now they are. And so, once again, we'll move forward on infrastructure and the basics that we need to evolve as a community. This past year, one of the most exciting initiatives I've had the opportunity to participate in and watch was, because of the changing environment, the business climate that we work in today, Alpharetta reassessed what we were doing within economic development in the city of Alpharetta. We realigned our economic development department within our community development department, because the two go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. And so it was only natural to improve communications and apply the synergies that are naturally within those two departments. We've brought economic development under the umbrella of Kathy Cook in the Community Development Department. Not only did we realign and organize it better, but we've hired 2 new employees, talented young people who have demonstrated the ability to help get us back on track and adapt to a different world. Alpharetta is still one of the most attractive places in the world to do business and raise a family. What we've got to do now, with a changing work environment, more flex schedules, more remote work from home, we've got to make sure that more companies, more people, more decision makers around the world understand what we have and will appreciate it. And so we now have the staff, we have the organization, we've got the resources dedicated to telling that story. And it's going to be a catalyst for future growth and the continued evolution of our office environment, where we continue to invest in amenities, connectivity, and trails, because the key to economic development right now is not only public safety. I read an article the other day, the Metro Atlanta Chamber, when they were talking about the Buckhead issue, said that public safety is still critical to economic development. But beyond that, you've got to have an attractive workforce. With today's labor pool, for those of you that have heard of the Great Resignation and things like that, there's a lot of people about my age that are deciding they can get out of the workforce. And there's truly not enough, just number-wise, people willing and able to step into those roles. So the critical thing for most major employers right now, successful companies, is finding, attracting, and retaining talent. That's the key. And fortunately, we're a city that excels in that. Metro Atlanta has tremendous talent. And in a world where more companies and more people realize that diversity is a critical asset, we are blessed with one of the most diverse workforces in the nation. And so that's an incredibly attractive environment. And it's a place, as I was just speaking with, I won't name the company, but a major employer here in Alpharetta. And they're talking about how they are bringing employees from different locations around the country, showing them what we offer here in Alpharetta, and selling them on relocating here. That's what we are doing now. That's what we have to do in the future. And that's why we have built the organization to do that through economic development. So that's kind of where we've been and where we're at right now, what we accomplished in 2021. But I don't want you to walk away not understanding. 2021 was an incredible year for this city. Most cities did not thrive. Not only did we thrive, we came out on the other side of 2021 better than we were in January of 2021. We've improved. We have shown a light that it can be done. Focus on the critical things. Don't get distracted by what you can't control. Focus on your families. Focus on your businesses. Focus on infrastructure. And so we're in a great place as we sit here this morning and share this time together. And when I look to 2022, it's really remarkable that I think 2022 is going to be better, and you should too. And I'm not just making this up. Like I said, I have conversations every day with amazing people. I've gone to events and spoken to risk managers for startups that have grown up through Tech Alpharetta. This guy was a Chinese national who taught international finance in Hong Kong and ran treasury operations for the Emir of Dubai. Where was it? It was the Emir of Qatar. I apologize. There are incredible people in this city doing incredible things. And he loves this area. I've talked to people with startup companies and other ventures that want to invest in our community who have left Greenwich, Connecticut, or Westchester, New York, or the West Coast, because this is the environment that they see can help them achieve their goals in the future. And when you have that image worldwide, and when you have the organization like we do to back it up, the sky's the limit. It truly is. And we have to execute. And fortunately, we do that well. And in 2022, that's what we will be doing. We're going to be getting stuff done. That's what the city of Alpharetta is great at. That's what our 450 employees do every day. And I'll do a short summary of some of the projects and priorities that we've got for 2022. One is, as I mentioned, we've got $60 million of transportation money that is going to be available to pursue the projects that we've been planning for years now. And they're going to start. Some of them may be planning, some of them may go ahead, and we might be able to start construction on some of them, but we're going to continue to do the Kimball Bridge Road project, get that refined, and build out the park right there at Kimball Bridge and Waters Road. We're going to really, in earnest, go out to bid and begin the process of converting Webbridge Road into the residential corridor it can and should be. We've got a handful of parcels that we still have to acquire of right-of-way, just little slivers of people's yard, so that we can facilitate the McGinnis Ferry Road project. I used to live in Windward. I promise you, you add 2 extra lanes to McGinnis Ferry Road and the additional exit they're planning off of Georgia 400, it completely changes the transportation and congestion issues that we've got in North Alpharetta and North Fulton. We've got plans to begin the Old Milton Parkway Road expansion of capacity by adding lanes to the interior of Old Milton Parkway. Many of you may remember from last year when I talked about it, over 48,000 cars a day go through that stretch of road between between North Point Parkway and Georgia 400. That's more than travel on I-16 in South Georgia. We are talking about major investments paid for by our taxpayers, supported by the county voters, and those are just the highlights. In addition, as I mentioned before, we passed a parks bond of $29.5 million back in November. The Alpharetta voters supported that, and we have already begun implementation of that with Director Rogers of Parks and Rec Development working with some expert leadership from our Transportation Public Works Department, have already begun the process of either designing or starting construction on parks on Mid-Broadwell Road, Old Rucker Road, Kimball Bridge and Waters Road, Union Hill Road, the gateway that we've been planning as a city to connect the Greenway to the North Point corridor. These are transformational projects all over the city, not to even include all the improvements going on at Wills Park that'll start, well, some of them began last year, will start as soon as we can get public input on how these projects need to look and what we want to help us evolve to the next level. We've got a tremendous amount of stuff to get done this year, and we're going to do it. And I know we're going to do it because going back to the basics of how we got to this place in the first time. First, we had the vision of our residents. They've given our council and our elected leadership marching orders. We want Alpharetta to get better. We don't necessarily want Alpharetta to keep getting bigger, going vertical, becoming more dense, becoming an urban core like so many other communities in our position have done in the past. They want us to get better. They want us to continue to evolve and become a place that is even better at providing a great environment for growing a business, raising a family, and enjoying a lifestyle. And that's what our elected leadership will be working on, implementing those policies, setting those goals, setting the priorities. But I'll let you in on a little bit of secret. I don't fix roads. And Mayor Pro Tem Merkel doesn't build parks. So what's going to be our key to success over the next 12 months is giving clear direction and giving the resources that our team at the City of Alpharetta need. Because I just want to take a few minutes to brag. I get a lot of questions from other leaders and other people outside the City of Alpharetta asking, how have we done what we did? It's remarkable. How did you do that? And I tell them all the time, it's the team. We have one of the most amazing groups of people I've ever had the opportunity to work with, the team of the employees of the City of Alpharetta. And we kind of refer to it, those of us that work in city government here and talk about the evolution of this community, talk about the Alpharetta way. So I'm going to share a secret with you. It's the Alpharetta way that has made the transformation from where we were 10 years ago to where we are today. And the Alpharetta way is not just a bureaucrat punching a time clock, going home, doing whatever they want on their free time. It is a dedicated workforce, employees who actually care about this city, who care about the people we serve. Now, I'm not pretending we're perfect. None of us are perfect. and things happen. But we don't just blow them off. As a culture, the culture of the people that work for the city of Alpharetta is, how do we get to a yes? How do we get to a win? How do we get there? It's not a knee-jerk reaction that, oh gosh, somebody wants to do something creative. Oh, God forbid. Somebody wants us to take a risk, to do something new. It's an environment that our city administrator, Bob Regas, has created over the last 20 years, where people want to serve. They take pride in the community that they are building. And it makes all the difference in the world. And that's why it's so important in a changing environment, in a world where labor and talent is so hard to attract and retain, that we continue to feed what makes us great. And so I know in my role, I know our fellow elected officials understand that if we want to get to the next level, we have to give our employees what they need to get their jobs done. They can't keep us safe if we don't provide public safety the resources they need to attract and retain great police officers and firefighters and 911 operators. We have to give them the training they need to succeed in an unbelievable environment under so many difficult circumstances. I can't even imagine walking in their shoes. We've got to do that, and we will do that. We've got a community that demands that and the resources to do it. And so when I look at 2022, I am so excited, and I hope I've been able to convey just a little bit of that with you, because the future is bright, and we are really poised to succeed. And if I could, just as a point of privilege as we start to close, ladies and gentlemen, this will be the last State of the City address that I give with Bob Regas at my side. Bob, if you could stand up. Bob Regas has served this city for more than 20 years. More than any elected official, he is credited, should be credited, with the organization that he has built, with the city that we have created together. So if you could give him a round of applause as he retires in 6 months. He's a remarkable man. He's been a tremendous resource for me, and it'll be a huge loss. But I'm comfortable knowing that we will find someone who understands and appreciates the Alpharetta way and will continue the great work of the city of Alpharetta. So I will close, maybe a couple of minutes early if I'm quick. Last week I had a chance to attend a breakfast Andy Stanley hosted, and he said a quote that really struck me, and it was, as leaders, we can't provide certainty, we can only provide clarity. So I'll leave you with this. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but let's be clear on one thing. I don't care what happens. I don't care when it happens. We are the right people to take this city into the future, and we will thrive and do successfully great things as long as we work together. God bless you all, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Can we have another hand for Mayor Jim Gilvin? And a big hand if you love this city of Alpharetta. I have two more thank yous. Belinda Green, Acoma Events, for our breakfast. Thank you very much. And Diane, turn around. The ABA, she writes these scripts. It's amazing. Thank you, Diane Lasorda, for keeping us all together. And also Pat Check. Thank you so much. Pat takes care of all of our PR. It's 9:15. Y'all can go back to work. Thank you for joining us this morning. Stick around for a little while and talk to your friends and neighbors. Have a great day.